All right. We are recording. Three, two, one. Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast 2023 U.S. World Trials Preview Edition. I am joined by Yin Lee, and today we are going to be previewing the 2023 U.S. World Trials women's events. We're going event by event in the order of the meet and breaking down each event, telling you who we think is going to make the 2023 World Champs team and who is going to miss out on it. So I'm excited to sit down with Yin Yin and preview this. Let's get rolling on day one with the 200 fly. This one's one of our more straightforward events. Yin Yin, I'll let you start. Give me your breakdown of this event in terms of who you think will get top two and who you think could be a contender.
Yeah, so prior to this year, I thought this event was a little bit wide open because at the end of last year, Reagan looked really vulnerable. So I thought maybe someone like Dakota Luther, maybe Kelly Pash, Tess Howley Lindsay Looney could step in and maybe have like an international team berth. But after this year and after what we've seen from Reagan and from Haley, I think it's a no-brainer that these two are gonna be the top two.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue against either of them at this point. Haley, I'm just kind of curious as to what's going on with her, just because normally we see her race a lot during the season and we see her race a lot of events. We saw her race the 200 fly at the Sun Devil Open just a few weeks ago, and she looked good. You know, she was 206 in the morning and at night, I believe. She added a little time from prelims to finals, but she's by far the number two pick right now. No one else has cracked 208 this season. So I do think she's the logical pick, but I also feel like she's a little bit vulnerable just because she's a little bit of a question mark in my book. In my picks for this whole meet, I have some youth developing, and I think this opens up a spot for maybe someone like Alex Shackle, who we've seen kind of on a very upward trajectory. And I think if she has a big meet, it's day one of the meet. She could come out swinging and maybe get that third spot if Haley has a shaky prelim swim, because she has been known to add from prelims to finals at trials meets or at nationals meets.
I mean, I know Haley's been juggling with a new real estate job this year, which is why she hasn't been racing as often. But I'm not too concerned about her. I think there is obviously anything can happen, and in the case of something happening, I do think this is an opportunity for someone else, maybe a younger swimmer to break through, but I think she'll be fine.
I think it's the safe money is definitely on her. I
Yeah.
agree. It's also interesting that we had on our official SwimSwam preview, we have uh, Sun Devil teammate Lindsay Looney as seventh, even though she
Seven.
has the fourth overall best
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
She was 207.2, I believe, last summer.
Mhm.
And getting to train with Haley and Reagan on a daily basis, I'm kind of curious to see what she does as well. And, if she can't put that training into action and maybe one up one of her teammates to nab a spot as well. But yeah, I think Reagan and Haley, there's not too much else to talk about in that event because I think they're a pretty solid 1-2 pick.
Mhm.
100 free is
A
where things get
hundred
interesting.
free. Yeah,
Um,
so I did this preview, and it was really difficult for me to narrow down the six people qualifying just because there's so many contenders in this event. I think top three are pretty much locks with Weitzel, Husk, Curzon, and I think Weitzel and Husk, having been the only two 52 swimmers, are gonna be the top two. And then my next three, I had Erica Brown, who has consistently been pretty good. Probably the third best 100 freestyler last year. And then who else did I had hold on, I want to pull up my pull up my picks. I
You
had
had,
Erica Brown,
yeah,
and then I had Erin Gemmel, and
Gretchen Walsh at fifth, Gimmel at
yeah,
sixth.
Gretchen Walsh. And
Mhm.
other than that, there's also Natalie Hines and Kate Douglas. And my reasoning for those other three picks besides Husk, Weitzel, and Curzan is basically Gretchen. It just feels like this year is her time because she's had all these disappointing meets in the past and she's looked really good this year. And I just feel like this year's like gonna be her time to say it, like we're not gonna have this happen again. And then with Gemmel, I just think it would be interesting. Maybe because she's so good at the 200 and is probably a favorite to make it in that event individually. And maybe her 100 abilities are underlooked, but she's been 54-1 before. And I just think a young swimmer like her, like at a meet like trials, this is going to be her time to drop. But very, very hard to pick this event.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth here. Looking at rankings so far this season, we've had nine women. The US has had nine women who have been 54-5 or better this season. Which is also a little frustrating when you look at the Australian women, because it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
we're really lacking the depth that 53 low, 52 anything depth. I agree. Top two seem like a lock. I do think Tori and Weitzel. I think Abby's going to win. I think Tori gets second. Is my personal picks, and then I think Kate Douglas is going to have a really good long course showing here. I had her as my third pick, and I have Claire as my fourth. I agree with you, Gretchen Walsh. I'm hoping, and I do think she's going to have a breakout long course meet here, make her first big senior international team. And then I put Katie DeLoof as my sixth pick.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one. That's a good one. That's one that not many people know about, but she has been swimming really well this year. Like after barely swimming last year, she's been 54-0. And yeah, I definitely could see her in the running.
I think the change of scenery has been a good thing for
Mm.
her. She's in Loughborough. She gets to live in the same town as her boyfriend Felix Aubach. It seems like the training there has been working. She's with a small group of similar athletes. They're all pros or going to school there. And so yeah, two athletes to kind of be on the lookout are her and Paige Madden, who is also now training at Loughborough. Coincidentally, both trained as pros at Virginia as well before that. But it was a coin toss between Erica Brown and Katie DeLoof for me. What made the difference is that Katie was 54-0 at the Adam Peaty International just a few weeks ago. Erica was 54-1. Her season best is 54-1 in Knoxville in January. So at her home pool all the way back in January. So really, I think she has a good shot to make the team. I'm just, we haven't seen her best recently. So and again, she did that in her home pool. And not that Indy is so much different from Knoxville, but I think it's always a little easier to get up and go in a pool that you're very familiar with. But
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. I'd be curious to see how Duluth adjusts to swimming in the US after spending her time in Great Britain. And honestly, I have that question about Paige as well. But I'm a little bit surprised at how many people think Weitzel is running away with this because I actually think Husk is going to win this event and Weitzel's going to get second because we have to remember Weitzel, she was slower at trials last year than she was at an in-season meet. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this year because I don't know, she could add a considerable amount from her season best because 53-2 for an American is considered really good, but she could add from her season best and still make the team, but that doesn't mean and I do think she's going to make the team, but I'm not sure how confident I am about her winning the whole thing because it's just like you've got to look at what's happened in the past and like I can't really fully let go of that even considering how good she's looked this year and I just think Tori has more of an upside.
Hmm. Their best times are so close, so I mean, it is kind of like a coin toss, but I think Abby has looked so stellar this year. I think last year we have to remember that right around
I
trials, she
guess.
was
Yeah, that's a
the
good
whole
point.
the Terry McKeever
Tara McKeever.
thing was happening, and so like her life was probably her swimming life was probably there was a lot going on that was outside of her control that it's kind of like what's happening, but now this season starting this fall she's had a stable training group. She's been training with the Cal Pro men, with Murphy and Hunter Armstrong. I think there's one or two others as well, but under Dave Durden and the rest of the coaching staff, so she's had a little more stability, and I think it's shown in her racing. She's been 53 mid to 53 low all across the Pro Swim Series. And so that with that, it just seems like she's in a good place. I don't think her swimming slower at trials is a common thing for her across her career. I think last year was more of an anomaly, is what I'm guessing, than kind of a pattern for her.
Yeah. For me, picking Tori is more not like against something against Whitesell. It's more of I think people are underestimating Tori because she is fat. Her personal best is faster than Whitesell. She won trials last year, and she
By a
just hasn't
hundredth,
had.
by
Yeah,
0.01.
isn't it by she won try? Yeah. Um, but she also hasn't had the same long course racing opportunities as Whitesell this season. She's only raced at one long course meet. She's been doing NCAs all year, and she was had a really great yard season. So I think that's a common pattern with these college swimmers in general. We haven't really seen what they're truly capable of in long course, and I think that's going to be better put on display with the 3 months that we have between NCAs and trials.
I agree with you that I think that's why I would pick Abby, honestly, is because Tori hasn't had as much long course racing, and therefore I think Abby is just a little more in tuned with that arena. I think come World Championships it might be different because Tori will have had trials and then the training camp and then World Champs. But I think going into trials, it's like Tori has only raced at one long course meet since NC2As, whereas Abby's been racing long course since January. So we'll see. I mean,
We'll see.
we're
We'll see.
splitting hairs here. If they
Yeah,
both go
yeah,
52, I'm going to be psyched. And I think
yeah.
that is a very real possibility.
Mhm.
So moving on, last event of day one is the women's 800 freestyle. Again, I think this one's like pretty pretty easy pick. But last year we saw Ledecky and Leah Smith make the team.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be the two Katies. What are you thinking heading into this event?
Yeah, I think this one's pretty self-explanatory as well. Katie and Katie. I know last year though Grimes didn't have the best swim and Leah Smith um beat her by a considerable margin, but I don't think that's gonna happen this year.
I agree. I think with the experience, we've seen Katie Grimes do that at two trials now, Olympic trials in 21 and world trials in 22, where it takes her a little bit to kind of get into the meet, but every event she swims, she gets better and better and better. It seems like the 800 was kind of a flub for her on day one last year, but then, the last 3 days, she makes three events on the team, or has three really great swims in the 4 IM, the 4 free, and then the mile. She made two of those events individually. I think this year she's going to get that third event in the 800 free, and take it. I'm really curious to see if Bella Sims swims this, just because she's a great distance swimmer, but especially looking at her yard swims, it's like she should be like I think of her more as a mid distance swimmer, and the fact that she's only made international teams in the 200 free, it's kind of like you're still swimming the 800 in the mile. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah. I think her bread and butter is like the 200, 400. I don't think she particularly, just based on what she's good at, she seems like someone that doesn't really like swimming distance events. I feel like she'll still swim it, knowing Ron and what he makes his swimmers race at trials, but I don't think she's going to be putting too much of a focus on the 800.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it'll just be great to see how the three Sandpiper girls are firing, which is Claire Weinstein, Katie Grimes, and Bella
Mm,
Sims on day one. All three of them were top six in the 400, 800, and 1500 at the 2022 trials.
mm.
And so I think that trend will continue again if they
Yeah,
swim them, especially if Bella swims all of those. I think Claire and Katie definitely will. But yeah, I think it's Ledecky and I think it's Grimes
yeah,
for the women's 800 this meet. Day
yeah.
two,
Day
200
two.
freestyle. I love that we get the 100 the relay freestyles
Yeah, yeah.
right out of the gate.
Mhm.
200 free, break it down for me, Yin Yin, because again, this is a pretty packed field.
Yeah. So Katie, I'm still not sure if she's gonna swim this individually at Worlds, but she's probably gonna swim on the relay, so she's gonna win. And then my pick for second is probably Erin Gemmel. And she was slated to make the team last year, didn't have the best meet. I think she was sick at trials, but this year, after seeing her national swims and her um junior Pan Pac swims, and she's been 157 this year already. I think she's gonna pull through and get second. And then I think Bella's gonna make the team. Leah Smith could make the team. Anna Poplawski's an interesting one. She's probably the biggest one of the biggest US breakouts of the 2023 season. She's been 157.02 this year, which I think makes her the second fastest American of 2023 behind Ledecky. Um, I think it'll be interesting to see if she can handle the pressure of being favored to make a world championships team and pull through with it, because I think that would be a great storyline. I think college swimmers that are primarily known for being good at yards are usually the biggest underdogs on the meter stage, and she kind of proved that. And Paige, we haven't seen much of her this year, but she's also been 157.6. I think she's gonna bounce back as well and make the team. And so those are pretty much my picks.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. I do think this is the year that Leah Smith misses out on the 200 free just because there's so much depth and young talent rising. I have Ledecky, which obviously we don't know if she'll swim it individually. My guess is she will not end up swimming it into. I think she'll swim this event, prelims, finals, at trials. I think she'll win it handily. I think she won't swim it individually at Worlds, which will. And I have Bella getting second. After that, one blazing 154 anchor leg last year, and she's had a sensational short course season. She's had a great long course season so far as well. I think she's finally going to pop, a 156 low, 155 flat start. And I think that gets her second. I have Gimmel getting third. So I think ultimately Bella and Aaron Gimmel will swim individually at world champs. And then I've got Claire Weinstein, Anna
Yeah,
Peplowski,
Claire, that she's one of my picks. Gotta say
and
that.
then I have Katie Grimes getting sixth because she was eighth in the final last year. I think she has had a great short course and long course season as well. I think she's really popped and developed and gonna make it. Gonna finally get her hand on the wall and qualify straight out or straight up in this relay. I have Paige Madden at seventh, so maybe like Ledecky will scratch the final and then let someone else like make the team for that sixth place, and they'll just like they know she's gonna get on the relay anyway. Because I do think that's the one thing that's like man, come on. Just like if you're not gonna swim at Worlds, then just don't swim the final so that
Yeah,
someone
I
else
was
can
a
make the
little bit.
team.
I mean, I wasn't annoyed at her because, like, I don't think maybe she didn't know, but I do wish someone else could have gotten a spot after she scratched. But I don't agree with the Leah Smith thing just because she's been so consistent last year. I don't think she's gonna get a finals relay spot, but I think she's gonna get on the team because you have to remember a lot of these young talents, like they don't have the experience of racing at like a big trials meet. And we saw what happened. I mean, Gamma was obviously sick, but we saw what happened with her last year. And yeah, but I do think it's going to be a toss up. But I think Leah Smith gets over the edge. I talked to Katie Grimes a few months ago, and she said that getting on this relay was one of her goals. So I'm pretty interested to see how much she focuses on the 200 free and what she can do. She broke 158 for the first time this year.
Yeah, I mean, and it fits perfectly in her event lineup. It's on day two. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have anything else that I think that she would swim on this day. I guess she could do the 200 back, but yeah, it's like it makes sense for her to swim this. I'm curious, who do you think Leah Smith would beat out for just a top eight spot in the
Top eight.
morning?
I could
Um,
see. I could see. Okay, I'm not trying to say that she's gonna have like downfall at trials, but I could see maybe someone like Anna Piplowski getting newcomers nerves and adding a lot just because like we usually see that happen a lot with huge breakout swimmers that don't really expect to be in contention for worlds, but then they do end up making the team. I can see that happening, but not very. You know what? I changed my mind. I don't think Leah's gonna qualify. I think it's Katie, Aaron, Bella, Paige, Anna, and then Katie Grimes. What about
mhm.
Reagan Smith? Do we think
I,
she's racing this?
no. It's two backs the same day.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I think let me here's what I need to pull up is the world schedule. Like I think she could I think she's already made enough of a case for herself to be put on the 4x2 prelims if she really wants that. But that's also we'll get to this later, but that's also I mean she has the 50 oh sorry, she has the women's 200 fly final the same session. It is the first event, and then the relay is the last event. But like she wouldn't have anything in prelims that day. So I think if she wants to, like they know her speed and they know what she can do. But I mean, it doesn't make sense. She's not going to swim this over the 200 back, or like I don't think she's going to do both. That
Yeah,
just
yeah,
sounds crazy.
yeah.
So like Leah Smith was third at trials last year,
Mhm.
and she had a really good trials.
Yeah.
She had a great bounce back trials, but she was 157.44. So like that's kind of my only thing is that
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think
trials
this
was
event
relatively slow last year, and I think it's going to be faster this year.
I think this event is going to take a step forward. Agreed.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like I, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think top four might be 156. I think we might see four women go sub 157, and then top six might I think 157.4 might right around be sixth. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
that's a good estimate.
All
All right.
right, 200 breast. God, this was a
200
hard
for
one.
breast.
I don't
Yeah.
even know.
I think it's
Go
gonna
ahead.
be the same as last year, Lily and Kate, but Annie Laser, this might be her last meet ever. So if she wants to qualify for Worlds, I think this is her best shot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going the opposite direction. Lydia Jacoby is just on a tear, and her season best is 2:24.0, also her lifetime best, which she went at Mare Nostrum. And then Lily King's season best from Fort Lauderdale in March is 2:23.3. So I think Kate Douglas is making the team no matter what, whether she gets first or
Yeah.
second. I think
Yeah.
Kate
Yeah.
Douglas is doing it.
Mhm.
But Lydia has looked so good. It's Texas training is working for her. Swimming with the training partner and Anna Alent is working for her, and she looks great. And I think her 200 is developing. I had Lily at second because I think she's going to get close. I think next year is going to be the year for her where she gets the 100 and the 200. But I'm going Lily and Kate Douglas. Annie Laser has just not looked that good this season. Her season best is 25 225.7. Last year she made the team in the 100 breast and missed out in the 200 breast, and I don't see it happening for her this time around in the 200. I mean, or in the
Yeah.
100, but
I think it's gonna be Lily and Kate, and there isn't really gonna be someone that comes close. I do think Lydia has looked really good just from a season best perspective. But then when you look at season best versus lifetime best, she probably still has 3 seconds to make up with Laser, Douglas, and King. And I think she's gonna get there next year where she finishes third and it might be close. But this year I think it's gonna be King and Douglas hands down. Laser, we'll see what she has in store. She hasn't looked good this year, but she did go 221 last year and almost made the team. So we'll see. I feel like there's not much to say in this event.
agreed. I feel like getting third in the 200 last year might have broken her in that event
Broken
slightly.
her.
Broken Annie. I mean that was tough. But she
Yeah.
bounced back. I mean, she's a very tough swimmer, and so we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes. It's also interesting that you have two Virginia girls and Ellen Nelson and Alex Walsh kind of lingering at that 224. Ellen
Yeah.
Nelson went
Anna Keating as
224.8.
well. She was 224. She made the national team last year, so it's three Virginia girls.
So you've got some firepower there, and then
Yeah.
obviously Kate Douglas is at Virginia as well. But I don't think they're going to do anything in terms of top two,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think they will make it
Maybe Pan
interesting.
Am's. Pan Am's. That it'd be nice to see one of the other Virginia swimmers that's not in the big three make an international team.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited about Pan Am's just because you get to kind of see
Yeah.
those next tier of swimmers down put up really
Mhm.
good performances, and it'll be in October, which will be interesting to see how college swimmers
Yeah,
react to that or if they
that's
decide
true.
to go to that meet. But that's that's another podcast.
Yeah.
200 back. We all know.
200 back.
I think we all think Reagan's going to win this.
Yeah.
uh,
I think
yeah,
second place is also a no-brainer with Phoebe. And again, this is just one of those events where there's possibly rising contenders, maybe Curzan, Staten, Ryan White, but there's just too much of a gap between the second place and everyone else. For me, I'm interested in this race because this is sort of a mental test for Reagan because we obviously know she's fast enough and capable of making the team. But also, we saw what happened to her over the last 2 years. I think if she can get over this mental hurdle of qualifying for something that she's failed to qualify for in the last 2 years, I think it will set her up for a killer world. But I think for her, this race is more so of a mental one than a physical one.
for Reagan.
Yeah, yeah, for Reagan.
Agreed. Yeah. I think she's discovered something with Bowman. Something has clicked. It seems like she's doing really well. Obviously, she's throwing down incredible times with the training there. I think she's going to get back on track in the 200 back. Personally, I think she's going to focus on three events at World Championships: 100 back, 200 fly, 200 back. There's no conflicts in the schedule there at World Championships, and she could do the 200 IM, she could do the 100 fly, she could do the 50 back, but I think that's just unwise, and I don't really see why she would. I haven't looked at the Olympic schedule, and how those events play out. But I'm guessing, those are her three best shots at medals at Worlds and the Olympics. And at Worlds, at least, like that, it's a really good schedule for her. And she has really great chances at medaling in all three. And I think the tuner back is the second step in that. She gets the tuner fly on day one, day two, she gets that tuner back uh, in the individual qualification, and like you said, kind of gets over that mental hurdle. I see Curzan as going number two.
Really?
I know Phoebe Bacon has a faster best time, but I think Curzan has just been on a roll in backstroke. She was the NCAA champion this year. She was the short course world champion
Yeah,
in
but short
2022.
course, long course, not really correlated.
I
Um
agree that Curzan's obviously a better underwater swimmer,
yeah,
but
yeah.
she was 207.7 in mission last month. And I think Greg knows how to taper his swimmers. The Stanford women never swim particularly fast in season. And I think Curzan we're going to see her have a big switch in focus. I think she's going to go in and try to nab all three backstrokes.
The
Um,
200 back conflicts with the 50 fly at Worlds. Do you think she's gonna swim two back over 50 fly?
I do. I think she might swim. Um, oh, yes. And that's the same day at trials as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I do, because I think she's going to shift from sprint freeze and butterflies to backstroke. And I think she'll still swim the 100 free and maybe even the 50 free because it's on the last day. But I think she's going to get individual qualifications in backstroke. And we're going to see Claire Kurz and the backstroker is what I'm predicting, because
Yeah. I'm
Phoebe hasn't put up anything insane this season. So
I agree that she's gonna put more of a focus on backstroke than with fly. Again, I also agree she's gonna continue swimming freestyle because of the relays, but the 200 back, I'm not sure if she's there yet, and I don't think you can say much from in-season swims because a lot can change from that going into trials, and just with how good Phoebe looked last year, I'm not betting against her, but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, Phoebe didn't look that great at NCAA's. She
She
had
won
like
a big 200 IM best time, and I think she
she
swam a season best at in the 200 back.
which is good. It's like season bests are good, but that if she's not going best times in the tuner back, it's kind of like what's going on there. It gives me cause for pause.
Reagan beat her at NCAs last year, and Phoebe didn't go best time, and then she medaled at Worlds. So
It's true. So we'll see. We'll see. Next or last event of day two is 50 fly, which there's only one qualifier,
yeah,
which is the winner of the event
yeah,
for World Championships. We can break this one down a little bit. I think it's going to be Tori Husk.
yeah.
Uh,
Tori.
I think Tori's going to put her eggs in the sprint fly and sprint free as she normally does. She's not that in season swims mean anything because there's not too many opportunities to swim the 50 fly, but she's the third ranked American behind Gretchen Walsh and Claire Curzan. Maybe Gretchen, is
Yeah,
is on
I think
and
this is probably an event that Gretchen could do really well in because she's really good at the 50s long course. And you can see that from 50 free. And with how good her 100 fly was, I think there's a possibility that she could do something here.
honestly, I think it'd be pretty cool if Gretchen won the 50. It's
Yeah.
always good to see, like we saw Catherine Burkhoff win the 50 back last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
And like to see someone get that individual qualification and get on a world's team. Um, so that Gretchen would be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. I have Tori, but it's a 50, so what? Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, But I think the biggest thing for me is that I do see Claire Curzan swimming two back over 50 fly here. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Day 3, 400 IM. This is a pretty good one.
Hmm. Yeah.
I have
I think
Go
yeah,
ahead, Union.
Katie's gonna win. And the second spot, I'm torn between Hayes, Wyatt, and yeah, Hayes and Wyatt. And I actually
Mhm.
think Leah Hayes comes on top this time around. She had a really good swim last year. I think in prelims of trials, and with how good she's looked in the 200 IM and her breakout 403 yard swim, I think this year's her time in the 200 in the 400 IM. And honestly, I think it's if she continues to progress in the 4 IM, I can see this being a bigger lock for her than it is with the 2 IM, because with the 2 IM you've got um Alex, Kate, Reagan Smith, but the 4 IM, because Wyatt hasn't looked super strong in long course recently, I can see this becoming Hayes's main event along with what Katie Grimes has done.
Yeah, I have Hayes as well, just because again, I think this is going to be more of a youth movement on the women's
Mm-hmm.
side at this meet. I think we're going to see kind of a lot of those first timers or more newbies, like the Sandpiper women, Leah Hayes. They have experience under their belt from last year and for the Sandpipers from the Olympics. And so I think Leah's going to keep that momentum rolling. She had a great short course season, as you said. And I think she's going to edge Emma Wyant, even though Wyant is coming off a successful first season at Florida. She won a best time in the
Mm-hmm.
400 IM short course at SEC's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Hayes. I think she's going to have a good swim and keep her momentum rolling from last year. So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
But it should be at least an interesting battle for
Yeah.
the top 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah. I think Grimes is running away with it, but second place might be close.
Agreed. 100 fly.
Oh,
It's gonna
this one's
be
another
nice.
hard one. Yeah, for this one, I have Tori and Kate making the team with um Reagan.
I
I
do
don't
as
think she's
well.
gonna swim the 100 fly because,
I don't
as you
either.
said, she's gonna put all her eggs in the backstrokes in the 200 fly. Gretchen may be a contender. And Claire, I do think she's regressing a little bit in butterfly and also shifting her energy more towards backstroke. So I think it's going to be Tori and Kate. Tori's obviously has the most momentum, has been the best American in the 100 fly for the last few years, and Kate had a pretty strong in season swim. But my main thing about Kate is she went 56.5 when she was a 49 mid in the 200 in the 100 flying yards, and now she goes 48.4 in yards. So I don't know, like if that drop can convert over into meters, then that would be great, and I think it will.
Well, as you said,
Oh my
yards and
god.
meters don't always convert,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
with
it's
you.
one thing
I'm,
when like she was good in meters when she wasn't as good in yards. Now she's better in yards. So
I'm with you. I'm giving you crap, but I totally agree because I have Tori and Kate as well. I do think Gretchen could be a factor. I think Reagan. The next event we're gonna get to the 50 back, which is also on day 3. I think Reagan chooses the 50 back over the 100 fly at trials, just to test her speed and backstroke. And yeah, I don't think she's gonna mess around with the 100 fly, even though she could if she wanted. But I think Gretchen could be a factor, but I do think Kate has a lot of untapped potential there. As you said, her best time is from 2 years ago. She has certainly improved a lot in short course since then. Um, I don't. I think Claire will also swim the 50 back instead of the 100 fly. Could be wrong there, but that's kind of my rationale. And then, yeah, we have some other contenders. Alex Shackle. I think she's going to have a great meet, especially because it is basically in her home pool in Indianapolis. Kelly Pash, also from Indianapolis. So, this is a homecoming for her of sorts. They've both been 57 so far this season, but ultimately, I don't think they're going to be factors. And I think Kate D and Tori Husk get it.
Yeah.
50 breast. Again, just 50 of specialty. You only have one official qualifier here.
Mm.
Uh, I think it's going to be Lydia. Again, she's been on fire this season so far. I think things are clicking for her. I don't think anyone aside from Lily and Lydia have much of a shot here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a toss up between Lily and Lydia. And I think if one of them qualifies and wins this event, the other one's going to qualify through the 100. So there's really not much to say here. I do think King has the edge given her historical. I think she's a better front half swimmer than Lydia is, and she does have a faster season best and was faster in this event last year. And I'm going with Lily, but I think Lydia's going to qualify by virtue of the 100.
Mm-hmm. I am interested. Caitlin Dobler had a really great trials
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year and was third in the 100. What
yeah.
did she get? Let's see what she got in the 50 breast last
I think she
year.
was second in the 50, but didn't qualify. But
She
because
was.
yeah, she was second in the 50 and didn't qualify, and Annie qualified over her.
Yes. Yeah. So, which Annie wasn't even in the A final, but I
Yeah,
guess she didn't swim the 50 breast,
I think it was
but
something related to the selection procedure, and it made people
right.
upset.
Yeah. Yeah. So Caitlin was 30.3 last year. She touched
Hmm.
Lydia out by a hundredth. And then Lily King won with 29.7.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see what she'll do this year. She had a solid NCAA season. But I don't think she has quite as much momentum. Last year she was
Yeah,
like a month out from winning an NCAA title and then rolled into that meet and did really well. So I don't think she is going to have quite the firepower, but we're going to have our main breaststrokers. It's going to be Lydia or Lily, I
yeah,
think, are the safe
yeah.
bets. 50 back. Uh, as I said before, I think Reagan swims this and wins it. She's going to test her speed just to do it. And I don't think she will swim it at Worlds. I think this will be an event where, as we often do, we will have one entrant in the 50 of specialty. But I think, and I also think Claire Curzon is going to swim it and get second and ultimately qualify for it by virtue of the 100. But we're not even mentioning the American record holder, Catherine Burkhoff.
Yeah, I think Burkhoff is gonna win this. As you said, she's the American record holder, and she had the fastest time of 2022 in the world. And I think this is just her event. She's looked really good in it. She didn't swim as fast in at NCAs this year as she did last year, but I still think she has a lot of untapped potential in long course. She went 58.6 in the 100 back. That was the best time. And honestly, like that breakout in the 50 back last year just said so much to me. And I think she's carrying it over into this year. She's the fastest in the country this year. She went 27.4, which is 0.14 seconds and faster than Reagan at the same meet actually. So I think she's gonna win it, and then Reagan's gonna get second and qualify by virtue of the 100 back.
I would love if Catherine Burkhoff got first because, as we said,
Yeah,
it's fun to
yeah,
see those swimmers
definitely.
qualify for 50s. I have Reagan as my official pick, but I hope Burkhoff wins it just so she can get on the team and she's
Yeah.
the American record holder.
Hmm.
Why would we not want
Yeah.
to put that best
Yeah.
foot forward? All right, we're already on day four.
Day four.
400 freestyle. I have Ledecky and Bella. Once again, I think Bella's going to
Mm.
have a breakout, not a breakout meet. I think she's going to finally kind of get her short course, convert her short course swims that were sensational over to long course. I think it's a dogfight between her and Grimes, but I think in this shorter or mid distance freestyle, I think she gets a second individual event.
I'm actually going with Ledecky and Aaron Gemmel for this because she's been Gemmel's been 4050. She's the third fastest American probably in this field, and she's just been on, just like with Sims, the mid distance events are sort of her bread and butter. And in addition to her success in the shorter distance freestyles, I actually think she's better in the 400 distance. And I think she's going to surprise us and have a big flip here. I think could also see Bell in the conversation. We have to remember, though, Leah Smith has been 402 last year,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a 3 second gap between her and these younger swimmers. So when you're picking these younger swimmers over someone like Leah Smith, you're expecting them to drop 2 or 3 seconds. And that's saying a lot. Like, do you expect that? Like, I think it can happen, but like, I feel like that's underestimating Leah Smith a little bit.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying they'll drop that much time, even though I think at least one between Gimmel, Sims, Grimes, Weinstein, I think one of them
Yeah.
dips under 403. But
403.
like one
I
of
was thinking
them,
like 404. Yeah.
I think at least one of those four women will go 402 at least. But I also just I'm unsure that Leah will get that close to her best times or her times from last year. Even though she's had a strong season, I think by all accounts she's swimming well with Texas. She's just older, and I'm just going. I think it's safer to go with youth.
Yeah. I do think someone is going to beat her out this year, but I think it's going to be closer than the 200 because this is her better event.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think she has a great shot to make it in this event.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't have her making it. 100 breast. I think it's Lydia and Lily. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
I
Lydia's
don't think anyone
winning,
else.
Lily's getting second. Lydia's just looks so strong this year.
She does. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
yeah,
You
not much
know,
to say there.
Annie might make some noise. Caitlin Dobler might make some noise, but I don't see
Hmm.
them touching the two L's.
Hmm. Yeah.
100 back. So yeah, once again, I have
Wait, for
Reagan.
100 breast. Sorry, going back to that. What about Kate
Yep.
Douglas? Do we think Kate Douglas is swimming the 100 breast?
Uh I guess she could. Like she has a I think it depends on what she wants to do with her trials. Like, does she want a day off before the day where the 200 IM and 50 free are? Because she's already swam 3 events at that point. I think so. She has 100 free on day one, two breasts day two, 100 fly day three. It's like I don't think she could beat Lily or Lydia if she swims it. I do think she could get third.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's next?
100 back.
100
100
back.
back is next. Yeah. So once again, I think Reagan and Claire Curzan are uh,
Yeah.
are the picks for this one.
Yeah. I think Reagan runs away with it and Curzan gets second. Burkoff could maybe have a big swim and fight Claire for that second spot, just based on how good she is at the 50 and then also her 100 back. This year she's been under 59 this year. Only swimmer besides Ray can get under 59. She's been 58. 8. I don't think Ryan White's looked really good this year. I don't think she's gonna be doing that much. But yeah, I think Reagan and Curzan are my picks for 1-2. Burkoff could maybe slide in there, but no one else. I'm interested in seeing how Leah Shackley does. She's been 59.5. She's had a big breakout year in both yards and meters. I think Worlds and the senior international teams are still a few years away from her, but I think she could definitely get on the World Juniors or the U23 or the Pan Am's team. I'm interested to see how she does.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of intriguing names here. Once again, uh, I think Burkhoff has a great shot to make the team here. If I think she was just off last year. I'm pulling it up now.
She finished fourth last year to White, Smith, and Curzan.
Yes. Yeah. So last year, Reagan ran away with it 57-7. Claire was second, 58-3. Ryan was 58-5-9, and Burkhoff was 58-6-1.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Ryan White just made the move from Bama to NC State, and I don't see those dividends paying off this quickly. Um, so I think Burkhoff has a shot, but I do think it's Curzan and Reagan
Mm-hmm.
overall. There are other women who have looked pretty good. Isabel Stodden has been 59-3 this season,
Mm-hmm.
which is great, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are we
Uh
on day 5 now?
we're on day 5.
I feel like this is the
Mile.
day of death, just because all the super competitive events are this day, except for the
Yeah.
mile. I don't think the mile's very
I
competitive
don't think
because
the mile's very
Katie's running away
competitive.
with it. Grimes is getting second. Don't see anyone else getting under 16 minutes, quite frankly.
Quite frankly,
Yeah.
that's how it's going to be. I
Yeah.
mean, even in our season rankings so far in 2023, Ledecky and Grimes are the only two that have been under 16 minutes. Claire
Mm-hmm.
Weinstein was 16:09.
Mm-hmm.
Bella Sims is fourth at
Mm-hmm.
16:19. Erica Sullivan threw
Yeah.
down a 16:24
Yeah.
in North Carolina a month or two ago, but yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah. As much as it pains me to say this, I think Sullivan is past her 1540 Olympic medal days. I just don't see it happening.
I don't I don't see it happening at this meet.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, Katie Grimes took second last year at trials with a 15:51. Um, but yeah, I am with you there. I think it's going to be the Katie's once again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 200 IM.
Dun dun dun.
Uh,
Okay.
I've got Alex Walsh and Leah Hayes.
Yeah, that's who I picked for trials as well. I did the preview for this. I think a lot of this boils down to what Kate Douglas chooses to swim
Yeah.
because I don't see her swimming both events. And she did say a few months ago that she was all in on the 2IM, but that was obviously before her really strong 50 free swim at the Atlanta Classic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think a lot of this comes down to who's gonna swim what event. And I don't think Reagan's gonna try and swim this event.
No, I mean, again,
Actually, it conflicts with the 100 back semis at Worlds. Like, I'm honestly not sure. I think she could swim it because the 100 back, I don't think that's that bad of a double. It's something that Kayla McEwen might potentially have to do. So I think if Kaylee can do it, she can do it as well. But yeah, I'm just not sure. But in terms of people that I'm confident that will be swimming the 2IM, I think it's Alex and Leah Hayes.
yeah, I don't think Reagan does this. She popped off a great time at the Sun Devil Open. I think she could medal in this internationally. I think it's too much of a wild card for her. Her 100 back has looked stellar this season. She's the defending world champion. You know, we haven't I agree with you that Kaylee McEwen could do the double. We have never seen her do it at a world championships.
That's true.
She always chooses to focus on the 100 and 200 back, which I think is a smart thing to do, and I think is what Reagan will ultimately do. at this Worlds. Maybe she swims the 200 IM like for fun on the last day, as like a training thing or just like oh, let's see what I got. But I don't think she ultimately swims it at Worlds. I think she gets top two if she does swim it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Do I?
I
I
do. I do. I think she's
I
getting
just
top two.
it's like she'll be coming off a tough schedule, and like Leah Hayes and Alex Walsh will certainly have less
Have,
swims
yeah,
under their
lighter
belt.
load.
And like her breaststroke is just it's just like I don't know.
She dropped 2 seconds in it.
She did, which makes me question how much more she has to drop.
I
Like,
mean, even if she doesn't drop that much, I think she can still beat one of Alex Walsh or Leah Hayes. She's already faster than Leah Hayes by like
mm,
half a second.
mm, I think Alex and Leah, even if Reagan swims it, I
All
think
right then.
fatigue will set in. I mean, I think it's very possible that we see Reagan swim not as well as she did at the Sun Devil Open at trials.
Oh no, yeah, I could totally see that. She doesn't have to swim super well.
I mean, agreed. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. I agree with you. I think Kate Douglas will swim the 50. I don't think there's a reason for her to swim the 200 IM with the like she's got a 200 breast medal on lock. And if I was her and it's like, well, I already have the 200 breasts, and like if I can focus on other events that are hundreds or 50s, like why would I choose the 200 IM over the 100 fly or the 50 free? Like it, I wouldn't.
For selfish reasons, I do want her to swim the 200 IM just because we have yet to see that elusive, tapered, long course 200 IM from her.
I'd love to
And
see
you
it.
know, I love the 200 IM, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm her, I'm not swimming it. But if I got to choose, I would be like, yeah, she's
Yeah,
swimming it.
like Kate, you have to swim it.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
but yeah, if I'm her, it's like I'll swim it at short course worlds and like could totally dominate and win it there because it's all underwaters. But like I think she swims a 50 free here. So I'm calling Alex and Leah. And that brings us to the 50 free.
The 50 free. I
What do
think
you who you got?
Gretchen qualifies in this.
Mm-hmm.
And for my second pick, I can't decide if I want to pick Claire Curzon or Kate Douglas.
Oh. Uh-huh.
What
What
about you?
tell me about your rationale for those picks.
Oh, Gretchen, I just think her best long course event is the 50 free. She's been on a tear in that event recently. I just think she has so much potential. Like the way she swims, the way she has so much raw speed. I think she could explode in this event. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see her get down to like 24-1, 24-0 in the next 2 years. I think there's just so much potential for her in that. And then Claire, for Claire Curzon, it's mainly that 24-1 from her 16-year-old self still lingers. She hasn't been close to it since. But it's just like if she swam that time at 16 and she's gone to be arguably a better swimmer since then, like what's going on there? Like I feel like she still has something in her. And then Kate, it's more of just like she has a breakout in her, but is she gonna swim the event? I'm still not sure.
Mm-hmm. Uh I think Abby wins. I think Gretchen gets second.
I forgot about Abby, but yeah, I think she's gonna be in the mix. But Abby has looked more dominant in the 100 than she has in the 50, so I think it's gonna be closer in that event, and she's not as much of a lock.
Well, I like when you look at the rankings, it's like, yeah, Abby and Kate are tied at 24-4. Gretchen is next at 24-5. And then like Duluth is 24-7 from there. But Claire's probably going to swim it. Tori's probably going to swim it. Erica Brown, I think will also be in the final, but
Defending world's medalist Erica Brown.
defending world's medalist Erica Brown, can't forget that. But Abby's best is 24-1.
Yeah.
I think she will go best times this season because she has just looked so great. And I think so. I think she's going 24-2, 24-1 in the 50 free final. And then, yeah, Gretchen missed it by 100th last year at trials. She was third by 100th. I think you said it. It's her best event. I think she's gonna have a great meet. I think she's gonna get it. Again, I think she'll be a little more rested than someone like Kate Douglas, Claire Curzan, or Tori Husk. So she'll kind of have the advantage there as well, as will Abby. So that's what I'm thinking.
How do we think Simone Manuel's gonna do at this meet? I think she's a really big question mark because we know what she's capable of, but we also don't know her form.
I agree. She's at this point, I, she would be my pick to make the Olympic team, not this
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
You know,
I think just going straight onto the senior world scene, I quite frankly don't think that's good for her as a swimmer, considering what she shared about her recovery process. I think going to a smaller meet like Pan Am's to like ease back into swimming would probably be better for her.
and especially as like a pro swimmer and as a
Mm-hmm.
veteran on the national team, it would be awesome to see her go to Pan Am's.
Yeah.
I don't know how she'd feel about it, but as a fan, that would be really cool. And obviously, like a very low pressure meet to just see what you can do and kind of have a good long course showing there, even though it is kind of at a weird time in the season. So I, having said that, I do kind of think that if she makes the Pan Am's team, she will decline it because I think her focus will be on the Olympics and making the Olympic team. And if that, like, she's not going to go to a championship meet in October if in the lead up to an Olympic year. And I think that's why we'll see a lot of the US team also not go to that Doha World Championships in February of 2024. But I think Simone will like I'm calling B final in the 100 free, A final in the 50.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, just from where she's been at this season, it'll be really interesting to see how she tapers with Bowman, and it'll be interesting to see because she's kind of like she was making some progress from like January, March, April, and then I believe she kind of like stagnated like April, May. Um, and they weren't like it wasn't like bad times. It was just kind of like okay, you're kind of like hanging around. I think like 54s.
Mm,
So we'll see what she does.
we'll see.
What are you thinking about Simone at this meet?
I think she'll go season best. Definitely, I could see 54 low. I think if the 100 free final ends up being really slow, she could maybe pull a Mallory Comerford and make the team there. And I think she's a finaling in the 50 free. But yeah, she hasn't done anything statement making to the point where I think she's definitely going to be back to where she was before.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, she was 54.5 at Mission Viejo, which is her season best in the 100, and she was 25.0 in Fort Lauderdale in the 50. So, yeah, her 100 could be on point. She can make that final and go. But again, you just have younger women who are kind of on their upward trajectory, whereas Simone is like kind of on the upward trajectory, but like still getting back into it and like not close to best times. So it's a little bit harder to gauge,
Yeah.
but it'll be exciting to see how she tapers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Yin Yin, thanks for doing this preview with me. That is our 2023 US World Trials women's events previews. We'll be coming out with our men's events preview in just the next day or two. So stick around.